Hello everyone and welcome to Sharp Dress Gaming. I'm your host Richard, and today we have our first battle from the Primal Battle League. Now if you guys don't know what the Primal Battle League is, I did make an intro video about it, so I will link that in the description if you want to check it out. Otherwise, I'm going to get on to doing a few little things before the battle. Just so you guys know, check out the description down below. There's a lot of cool guys that are going to be linked down there. First off, Gearheart, big thank you for, first off, making this league and inviting all of us to play in it. And second off, for recording this battle for me. I actually don't have a capture card right now, so he was gracious enough to record it and send it to me, both me and my opponent, Mighty Mammal Swine. And you guys may notice that it's not from my perspective. That's because for some reason, either I somehow skipped over it, or it didn't allow me to save the battle. So this is going to be from Mighty Mammal Swine's viewpoint. And of course, Mighty Mammal Swine is the coach of the Washington Blazikens from the Alpha Conference. We are, for our first two battles here, we're going to be outside of our conference, which we're part of Omega Conference. And it's just for like keeping tally of things for who's going to be battling out for the final game. But we are nowhere near that. First, we got to take care of this. And honestly, this is the battle I'm most afraid of. Mighty Mammal Swine obviously knows what he's doing. He's picked some amazing Pokemon, and it's going to be quite the battle. So first off, the team he chose out of his 11 Pokemon is going to be Flygon, Jellicent, Heatran, Mega Pinsir, Thundurus, and Ferrothorn. Now, he's got those three very defensive Pokemon with Jellicent, Heatran, and Ferrothorn, and all of them are actually carrying leftovers. So it's going to be quite the pain to deal with all those. And then he's got the Mega Pinsir is going to hit hard, Flygon, which can just come in and out and do damage when it needs to, and then Thundurus is always a scare as well. I decided to bring Electivire for the coverage. Has the Ice Punch for... He had quite the ice weakness, so I wanted ice type, so I got Ice Punch. I got Cross Chop for the Heatran and the Ferrothorn. And then, of course, our Stab, Thunder Punch, and an Earthquake, just for good measure. We got our Noivern I decided to bring. I don't know why. I just did. And he's got Hurricane, Flamethrower, Boom Burst instead of Focus Blast, which I really should have put on him. And Hurricane, did I say? It was Draco Meteor and Hurricane. I forget which one I said. But then, of course, we got our Rest, Sleep, Talk, Melodic with Scalded Ice Beam as well. Conkeldurr, who has the Flame Orb and his Mach Punch, Drain Punch, knockoff Ice Punch. Mega Gardevoir with a Focus Blast, not Moonblast, Hyper Voice, Psychic, and what was his last? No, Psyshock, sorry, and Shadow Ball. And then we have Aggron, Stealth Rocks, Flamethrower for funsies, Earthquake, and Stone Edge. I brought Flamethrower for that Ferrothorn because I figured why not try and do some damage to that guy. So, without further ado, let's get this battle underway. Alright, so as we get the battle underway, we see my magnificent panda hat, Pangoro hat, and I send out Aggron. I'm trying to catch his Ferrothorn leading off, and then hopefully try and do some shenanigans with as he switches into Heatran, but he actually leaves a Flygon. I'm like, oh, I don't want an Earthquake, let's switch out into Noivern, and that's exactly what he does. He goes for the Earthquake, he couldn't resist, which, honestly, I would have done the same thing. You don't want to predict too much at the beginning. So I go to Noivern, he switches out, which kind of shows me his choice in some manner, but it's still not 100%, but I just went straight for Draco, seeing if he'd stay in. He does not, goes into Heatran, and Heatran is going to take that magnificently. But it's still damage. Always like damage. And actually, here's when I see leftovers on the Heatran, which is really nice, because even if he had Air Balloon, I would have popped it then. But I'd rather see leftovers than Air Balloon, and if he had kept the Air Balloon. But I go out in Melodic, page the Melodic, knowing that it's going to wall this Heatran. And he actually goes for Stealth Rocks here. I wasn't expecting Heatran to have Stealth Rocks. I was expecting Ferrothorn, which it could have too, but I just didn't expect it coming from Heatran. So Heatran's going to switch out knowing Melodic can't do anything, and here is one of my first misplays. I forgot Jellicent has Water Absorb, and I went straight for Scald, trying to catch that Heatran, but of course, Water Absorb, so nothing happens. I withdraw, knowing Melodic can't do anything, and I go into Conkeldurr. Now here is another play where nothing really happens. Jellicent is going to go for the Will-O-Wisp and actually misses Conkeldurr, but I have Flame Orb anyway, so it would have been burned either which way. It does kind of matter, as we'll see later. But Jellicent switches out and goes out into Ferrothorn, expecting the knockoff, which I go straight for knockoff. So I'm like, hey, let's get rid of something. And it does quite a bit of damage to this Ferrothorn. I do get the Iron Barbs, and it gets rid of its leftovers, which is really nice, because then it's not going to be getting as much health back. But now here he's going to go for Protect, seeing what I'm going to do, which, of course, I'm just going to try and Drain Punch this thing. Getting greedy and excited that I'm like going to be able to take out this Ferrothorn pretty early. But seeing that I'm going for Drain Punch, he switches out into Jellicent. And now I'm starting to see it. Well, at first I thought, okay, he's just anticipating my moves and switching to the better Pokemon. But here he actually switches back into Ferrothorn. Now, this is when I start catching on. Hey, he's just trying to dwindle me down with Iron Barbs and Burn. So after I get this knockoff on the Ferrothorn, it does quite a bit of damage still because I am Guts boosted. Gets the Iron Barbs and the Burn. I figured he's going to go for another Protect, try and get more Burn damage, so I am just going to switch out here. And I forget who I go into. I go into Megatron because I want to get that Flamethrower action going here. So Ferrothorn does go for the Protect, doesn't work, and he's actually not going to use it again. I was expecting it, so I went for Stealth Rocks. But he actually went for the Leech Seed this turn, thinking Aggron can't do anything to it, might as well get some health from it since I don't have leftovers anymore. But little does he know, I have Flamethrower waiting for him. So he gets his health back, and I don't approve, but he goes for Protect. So now my Flamethrower was useless. He knows I have Flamethrower now, so he can prepare for that as needed. So now I'm expecting the Heatran switch, so I actually go out into Melodic again, trying to catch that Heatran, or at least make it so it goes away once it comes back in. And he actually switches out into Jellicent, knowing that the Flamethrower wouldn't do anything to Jellicent anyway, and doesn't want to catch an Earthquake from Aggron just after the fact. So now we're both sitting here with our defensive water Pokemon, and I figure, hey, we might as well start getting some damage on this Jellicent. I know leftovers is a thing on it, so it's not going to be too much damage, but I'm going for Ice Beam. So I go for the Ice Beam, and I actually get a crit and a freeze. Turn 1 Ice Beam freezes, or first time using Ice Beam in the game freezes. So I'm like, oh, we gotta capitalize on this. So I get my leftovers recovery, of course, and then I switch out into Conkeldurr after he gets leftovers recovery. I forgot how many animations this stuff goes through. So I do switch out, and I'm going into Conkeldurr because I want to get this knockoff. So here's Conkeldurr, takes the Stealth Rocks. I was actually a little scared after Stealth Rocks. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to live the burn. So he's Frozen Solid still, which is nice. Gets leftovers, of course. And then I take burn damage. And I live with like 1 HP. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. But he actually stays in. I was expecting to switch, so I went for Drain Punch, and he stayed in, so it doesn't work. So now Conkeldurr's going to go down to burn, and because it was his own flame or her own flame orb burn, nobody gets the point for that kill. Whereas if Jellicent would have burned it, Jellicent would have gotten the point. And the points kind of go together to pick out the MVPs for Pokemon. So I go on an Electivire, and I know he's expecting that Thunder Punch, so I actually go for Ice Punch, expecting Flygon to come out. But something even better comes out. Thundurus comes out. And this guy does not want to take an Expert Belt Ice Punch from an adamant Electivire. So Ice Punch right to his face, and down goes Thundurus without doing anything. So we are now 5-5, and Electivire's got a point, and he's got no points on Pokemon right now. So he goes on the Flygon, and I'm knowing he's going to outspeed and go for Earthquake. I switch out into Noivern again, and actually I catch him on going for another Earthquake. So I get a free switch into Noivern. Which is going to be super nice for just switching in. So he's going to switch out again, and I expect that one. Didn't go for Draco this time. I went for Hurricane. Wanted to get a little extra damage off on the Heatran as it came in. So we go for Hurricane, and we miss. Noivern misses the Hurricane, which is fine. Hurricane's going to miss, whatever. So I go for Hurricane again as he switched out into Ferrothorn. I don't know what he was expecting with Ferrothorn. Maybe a switch into Aggron or something. I don't know. But I just go for another Hurricane here. And guess what? Another freaking miss. So he goes for the protect, and I'm going to Hurricane again, because at this point, I just want to land one Hurricane. So he protects, and then I'm going to go for a Hurricane again as he switches out into Heatran. And we're actually going to connect with Hurricane this time, which is nice because we get more damage off on that Heatran while it's getting Stealth Rock's damage. Stealth Rocks was honestly one of the biggest players in this game, because we both got it up, and both of us are switching so much that we're taking so much damage from Stealth Rocks. He's got a little bit better because he's got a ton of Leftovers users, whereas I only have Melodic with Leftovers. So I'm going to switch out Noivern finally getting that Hurricane off. I'm going to go out into Melodic yet again because Melodic walls his Heatran to all end. There's nothing this Heatran can do as far as I've seen. I've seen Stealth Rocks and now Lava Plume finally. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the burn. I would have liked that burn to get Marvel Scale going, but what are you going to do? Don't want when you want hacks, it doesn't happen. Well, we both take our Leftovers, of course, and I'm actually going to switch, expecting the Jellicent, because Jellicent always comes out when there's Melodic there, because I can't do anything to it. So I go out in the Gardevoir, get that Flash Fire, because we are faster, because he is actually going to switch out into Jellicent. I would have rather have gotten the Water Absorb. Not that it would have mattered because I have to Mega Evolve right away. That's the rule with our Megas. Jellicent is still frozen, which is nice for right now. But yeah, again, when you bring in your Mega, if it's staying it has to Mega Evolve. So I Mega Evolve into Mega Gardevoir, and I'm going for Shadow Ball here, just trying to get as much damage as I can, seeing that he's still frozen. And then so I get the Shadow Ball. And of course, in fashion of this battle, I get the special defense drop. So he goes for Skull to melt the ice, and of course, he gets burned. So all the hacks are happening. But with Leftovers recovery, I don't know if I'll be able to take him out with Shadow Ball. But I figured at this point I might as well do it. So I do go for Shadow Ball here, and he actually switches out, and I wasn't too concerned because Shadow Ball is going to hit almost everything super hard since Steel does not resist Ghost anymore. So in comes the Heatran, and we get their Shadow Ball off. Does quite a bit of damage to Heatran, but I don't want to take a Flash Fire, or not a Flash Fire, a Flash Cannon from this Heatran. So I am going to switch my Gardevoir out. And I'm actually going to go into Page again because, again, it's just the simple, Melodic is always going to wall this Heatran. Heatran can't do anything with it. So Heatran switches out into Jellicent actually on that same turn. So if I would have stayed in and went for Shadow Ball, it probably would have been the best move because this Jellicent would have been gone then the following turn. But unfortunately, I did go out because every time the Heatran's out, I always go into Melodic. So he predicted that one. So I actually go for Ice Beam again because at this point I just don't know what to do with this Jellicent. So I'm just gonna go for Ice Beam while I can figure something out. And he actually goes for Recover. So now I'm getting a little more desperate, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go for Ice Beam one more time. It won't freeze because it's already freezed once, and that never happens. But we're going to go for it. We're going to figure something out here. I go for Ice Beam, and of course, we get the freeze. So I'm like, oh god. So I switch out. No, I don't switch out, actually, this turn. Sorry. I actually misclicked this turn. I had just gotten off the phone because my girlfriend had just called. So I had just gotten off the phone, and I went to click Ice Beam again, and I actually missed. And I typed it to him in Skype right away. I'm like, oh, misclick incoming. But here comes the Ferrothorn. Try and take that Ice Beam. Or expect a switch or something. And I go for Sleep Talk. So I did absolutely nothing. Ice Beam would have been nice for some little more damage. But now I'm going to switch out into my Electivire. Expecting either Protect, Leech Seed, something like that. He actually shows the knockoff here, which is terrible, because now my Expert Belt is gone, and it's going to come into play later. He goes for Protect, seeing what I want to do, and I go for the Cross Chop, and now I know he's going out in Jellicent, because he doesn't want to get Cross Chop, so I go for Thunder Punch. Not to give it away, but I actually catch him on the switch, and go for the Thunder Punch, and it destroys this Jellicent's face. So another big wall out, or another big threat out of the way. One of the main walls that was stopping me from doing what I needed to do. So he's going to go out into Flygon again, and I know he's going to think I'm going into Noivern, so I actually go into Melodic, because Melodic can take either an Earthquake or a U-turn from this Flygon. Or any move, really. So he goes for U-turn, and he actually... It doesn't do a lot, of course, because I am defensive Melodic. And he's going to switch out into the Ferrothorn because he no longer has that Jellicent to wall my Melodic. But this Ferrothorn still will wall it pretty well, even though its special defense isn't the greatest, because it does resist both Scald and Ice Beam, which are my only attacking moves. So I'm going to switch out into Aggron. And he's actually going to go for Leechy, because I was expecting Protect to see what I was going to do. But there was no need to, because he could take both of them. So he goes for Leech Seed, gets that on my Aggron, and Aggron's not liking that. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. Excuse me, it's a long battle. Alright, so I'm going to switch it out knowing the Protect's coming so he can get some extra health off of that Leech Seed into Electivire. And, of course, he goes for Protect and fails. So he goes for Protect again to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go for Cross Chop here and fails because of Protect. Now, I don't expect a switch. Just go for Cross Chop because it will hurt Flygon even if it comes in. And because I don't have Expert Belt, it actually lives. I don't know if Expert Belt would have killed, but it would have been a lot closer. So he goes for Leech Seed on my Electivire. Expecting maybe an Ice Punch or something, me to switch it up because that's what I have been doing. So he gets a Leech Seed recovery from my Electivire, and I'm like, okay, he's going to Protect. Let me just switch. I'll use the Electivire as fodder later, and I go out into Aggron. On the Protect here, so that he isn't doing anything again. So he goes for Protect, trying to see what I'm going to do, see if I'm going to Flamethrower. I don't Flamethrower here. I actually Earthquake, because it would have killed Ferrothorn and would have done a ton to Heatran. So he's going to switch into Flygon. I knew that was coming, just because he had the immunity. Quite a few immunities on his team, if you haven't noticed. So I go for Stone Edge, just to get some damage on this Flygon, because it's another one that's been causing a lot of problems. Critical hit, so that's some nice damage on Flygon. And then I am going to switch into the Electivire just to sack it off. So I have a clean switch on something else. And now this was also a really good move, because Electivire goes down from Stealth Rocks. And that means Flygon can't use Defog. He used Defog on this Flygon, so he's choiced into Defog. And because there was nobody to drop their evasiveness, it didn't get rid of the rocks. So I go into Noivern. And of course he's going to switch. He doesn't want to stay in on a Choice Defog on a Draco, Meteor, and Heatran. So, or not Heatran, Noivern. So I actually go for the Hurricane yet again, and we actually hit this one. So Heatran goes up in the air, comes back down, gets confused. Now, after this Leftovers recovery, I wasn't sure if Hurricane was going to take out Heatran, but I went for it anyway, and we hit it. So Noivern's finally got the shininess out of his eyes, and Heatran was, I guess, was too confused from the play, or maybe from me actually hitting Hurricane and staying in, so it hits itself, knocks itself out. So Noivern gets that kill. Flygon comes in, and we're going to outspeed because we're Choice Scarfed. I go for Hurricane, going to take out this poor little Flygon, and now Noivern's got the game going here. It's got the sweep going. Pinsir comes in, and Pinsir, for some reason, switches out. I don't understand what the play was going to be there, but Pinsir does switch out into Ferrothorn. I am actually going to miss Hurricane yet again. For, what is this, the third, fourth time? So I go for it again. He actually could have protected and kind of stalled out my Hurricanes, but he didn't. So that takes out Ferrothorn. So now Noivern has +3, Electivire is +2, and in comes the Pinsir. So now Pinsir's his last Pokemon. Pinsir has to Mega Evolve because it is his Mega and it is staying in. And here's the game. If Noivern can hit this Hurricane, Pinsir's gone. The game's ours. Misses the Hurricane yet again. I swear to you, Noivern, a Woofer, I actually was one of my first bred Pokemon, and he wasn't shiny. I turned him shiny because I wanted to, and he is being made unshiny right now, right after I'm done commentating. So I go on to Aggron, knowing that Aggron can take the Thrash, because that's what Pinsir was going for, because we 4 times resist Thrash because of Aerial Aid. And I'm like, I don't want to miss Stone Edge, so I'm going for Flamethrower. And because I'm Impish, which is negative special attack, and I have no special attack investment, doesn't kill. Close combat will kill, because he did get only 2 turns of Thrash. So there goes Aggron. So I could have ended it with a Stone Edge, but I was too afraid of missing. So always go for it, kids. So I go out into Gardevoir. I don't know why. I know Pinsir outspeeds Gardevoir. Mega Pinsir outspeeds Mega Gardevoir. But I don't know. I don't know why I went into Gardevoir, honestly. But fortunately, Pinsir didn't know either. Gets hurt in confusion for the game. So that will leave 3 points for Noivern, 2 points for Electivire, and no points for the other people. So currently, this was the second game to be played for this round. So currently, Noivern is leading the league for MVP, even though he's missed already 4 Hurricanes. So hopefully, after being made back into normal Noivern, he won't miss as many. I guess the shininess got in his eyes or something. I don't know. But it was super close battle, super stressful battle. Honestly, one of the best battles I've had in a long time. So thank you, Mighty Mamoswine and the Washington Blazikens, for that battle. But it's not over yet, guys. We got quite a few more battles to go. Hopefully we can continue to do well, at least. And we'll see you guys for the next battle. Be sure to check out all the links in the description below. Leave a like, and we'll see you next time. Bye!